gonna rank albums. David Devant and his very wife.
I slightly know Mikey. I know he's watching over me, so a bit awkward, but here's a very odd concept for a band. You can look up their own explanations of the name, early performances with a lot of visual elements that don't come across that great on CD, but I'm here to rank these albums. I'm not getting all of David Devant and his spirit wife into one video. They actually started in the Victorian era and they were performing as magicians. No albums from that time have survived, so I'm just going to keep it to the ones I could find. They were even put in an asylum for some time. This early cassette release is arguably an album, but it's kind of just prep work. All its songs got re-recorded. Only hints of their brilliance here. Let's hurry on. It's so curious, a band for whom you could have said that the music is secondary to come through with such great songs, such honed songs, not just background accompaniment to stage shenanigans. Because once you pass the concept and the 5 years of craft, you're at the debut album, and it's what Britpop should have been, where music-hall whimsy marries guitar and drums, where wit fucks melody. Comical energy is rife on here, which makes the poignancy hit harder when it comes up, but mainly makes it a hoot. A hi-fi party through their best ideas, decorated with detail. Basically all singles, musically excellent, and all in the name of fun. It's ridiculous that this isn't a widely celebrated album. Celebrate it. Then they took a turn inwards. No longer pier-side entertainment, and with a much more lo-fi vibe, and much less to sing along to. It's less about being entertaining. It's a private and intimate music, and they've lost their guitar showman. It's a knowingly difficult second album, and it's probably the right choice compared to repeating oneself, and dwindling, and if you make something massive and it's not taken as massive, you can embrace the smallness you've got left. This feels much more melancholy and pained, and it draws its song structures to proggier depths without ever treading into dullness. The material meets their high established par, but a bit of a tinny flimsiness to the sound, not quite as much absolute anthemic glory means it's going underneath. Real obscurity now, but this one's a kind of halfway tween. It's the original lineup of the audible ones, and it's doing both. It's both reflective and fun. But striking between also means that you're not going to match up to either extent of your sound, just offer a bit more of it. The majority of these tracks do live up to their established record of records, especially if you get the version with Lifeline on it, but a couple of duds places it here. I still recommend this a lot, but the other two first. Actually, that's a convenient order. On me not appearing specs now. This is a compilation of early oddities which I could have put before the first album, but I've put it here. It does contain different recordings of most of the songs from that first cassette one, but very little charisma, honestly. It demonstrates the cabaret-ish sillies of the early Devant, and also what a good selection work Love Live Miscellaneous was, because they weeded out the many turgid novelty tracks, and the early versions of album tracks and nascent live takes just show how much a studio rethink can help you out. It's useful historically, but just doesn't compare as music. I've only kept the MP3s around because I paid for them, and now I'm not so sure. They have much better off album tracks that could have been gathered up into a rarities compilation. You can just stream those. Then a much delayed fourth album. I was anticipating this for ages, and it lived up to the wait. Mikey's had plenty more musical adventures since he was last in costume, and they all feed into this, an admirably experimental release, something you'd associated with more celebrated acts whose success is assured. But when obscurity is assured, you're just as free, maybe more free. Striking closest in vibe to Shiny, it's kind of exploring that space with a further 2 decades wisdom and intricacy. It's grown up with you. You're much older than when you started watching this video, at least until YouTube introduced the watch backwards feature. The original concept of Devant shows stronger here than on the last two. It's a very admirable return. It scratches up close to the first 2 records and does eclipse them in places. All through the musicianship, the wordplay, the harmonic depth, there's so much more than a novelty band, but with the extra novelty of novelty. Mikey has numerous other projects, not just in music. It was tempting to throw them into the rank, but it felt like the band brand is too intentional for that, though he does have his own compilation. Let's just describe what else there is to discover. Solo career starts with one that easily belongs in the Devant era for power words vibes, more humble and homemade and honed. Then one that's all scratchy, buzzy synths, no vocal projection, every instrument but the drums just muttering, which feels more like what we're about to get to, not all that interesting in itself. Carfax is a very exploratory electronic-y collaboration with the guy from Whitetown, you know? This one is intended as obscure, and it's still very often rewarding, this modest, quiet core knacked music. It's easily worth the price, they don't hold back. Their creative brains really suit each other, and their differing resources bring out each other's strengths. The other releases don't match up, though. They're just piles of unfinished, largely unfinishable ideas. Can't be sure whether the 2 tracks where the drum machine's left running for an extra featureless minute or 2, one of which is a parody song of one of their other tracks, are put there to insult us, or they really didn't notice before saving it. There's a level of detail attention here, and yet it's still more finished than the song it's parodying. I can't tell for sure who or what this is meant for. Jyoti doesn't sound all that present, the ideas don't seem to have much point or even confidence. At least this one has a warning. Unforeseen Luxembourg cover, but not any good. Stick to the good one. Glam Chops is a festive dick around. Here's another band, big, acoustic, filmic, and baroque, a little Springsteen, a little Walker, brassy, guided toward an ultra-bass moochy croon. This one doesn't work for me. The sound's just too wall to enjoy. Yeah, that's me saying that. Even his solo self has multiple names. Who does that? Still creative, these more instinct-level songs show vitality, but nothing vital. So all these extras fall into 3 categories: the haphazard stacks, the decentish ideas that just aren't all that important, and the ones with Devantish qualities and Devantish quality. Creativity, intrigue, art. There you go. I filed this under David, right? Nick Cave and Bad Seed stuff is under Cave, but this is more of an Echo and the Bunnyman situation? Let me know if I'm wrong.